Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Titikshavaha. Karunikaha. Suvridaha. Sarvadehinam. Ajata Shatrava. Shanta. Sadhavaha. Sadhubhushana. Titikshava Karunika. Surya Sarvadehinam. Ajata Shatrava Shanta. Sarva Sadhubhushana. Titikshava Karunika. Surya Sarvadehinam. Ajata Shatrava Shanta. Sarva Sadhubhushana. Titikshava Karunika. Surya Sarvadehinam. Ajata Shatrava Shanta. Sarva Sadhubhushana. More ladies. Tolerant.
There is a simultaneous.
Okay. Karunika. Merciful. Suridaha. Friendly. Sarvadehina. To all living entities. Ajata Shatravaha. Inimical to none. Shanta. Peaceful. Sadhavaha. Abiding by scriptures. Sadhubhushana. Adorned with sublime characteristics. Translation. The symptoms of a sadhu are that he is tolerant, merciful, and friendly to all living entities. He has no enemies. He is peaceful. He abides by the scriptures, and all his characteristics are sublime. Can someone read the purport?
We can read in English because there is some interpretation in both languages. But there is English speaking people.
Someone read the English? Please. That'd be nice. I'll make comments from time to time.
Purport. A sadhu, as described above, is a devotee of the Lord. His concern, therefore, is to enlighten people in devotional service to the Lord. That is his mercy.
That's the best mercy. That surpasses giving clothes and food and education, literacy. I think it was, Microsoft gave, I don't know, some huge amounts of money to make sure that all the people are literate. Of course there's some motive there, some business motive. He wants people to be able to read and use computers, but still, literacy is considered such an important thing. How can you live without being literate? How can you be happy without being literate? Or how can you be happy without cars? So many things. But these are not the real things that are needed. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said, there's enough of everything in the world, there's only one thing lacking, and that's Krishna consciousness. If that one thing is prevalent, then everything else will become valuable. The example is given that everything without Krishna is like zero. And you may have zero. So you have zero. And then if you have something very substantial, 2 zeros, and something really extraordinary, 14 zeros, and then you have a big group of something, 22 zeros, but still all zero. But if you put the 1, the Krishna, in front, then it becomes 10, 100, 1,000, million, billion, trillion, billion. Then it becomes valuable, otherwise, zero. And it's not surprising that the world of astrophysics and cosmology, they say that the universe came from where? From zero, yes. So it's not surprising that they say everything came from zero, because their world is really zero without Krishna. They're missing all the points, everything it missed completely. The essence, the source, the goal, the maintainer, the supplier, the object, the subject, everything they're missing is zero. And it's not surprising that Buddhism is becoming very popular now, because what is Buddhism based on? Shunyavadi, zero. And we're giving the antidote, the solution. Take all your zeros. That's why we've produced a poster, you may have seen it, with the Dalai Lama garlanding Srila Prabhupada in ISKCON temple. Have any of you seen that? Very nice photograph. And I feel it's important because although Buddhism is propounding zero, but the leader of world Buddhism is appreciating the one who's given the one to the world. And it's a beautiful sign of devotion, and everyone should follow that example. Zero may be good when you're in the minus category, but if you have something positive, there's no need to go back to zero. So Krishna consciousness is the original everything. Everything is coming from the spiritual world, and the material world is a inverted reflection, a perverted reflection. So therefore, to give Krishna consciousness, to preach, preaching doesn't mean sectarianism. Often that's the misunderstanding, that if you're a preacher, it means you just have some sectarian view. And it's always a question of your view against someone else's view. But preaching Krishna consciousness is giving the science of the absolute truth. Vedanta tat tat vad vidas tat tam yajkanam advayam Meti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavan iti Shabdate. It's all included in the absolute truth. The Brahman, the energy, so the impersonalists are satisfied, and the super soul, so the yogis are satisfied, and Bhagavan, Krishna, and the bhaktas are satisfied. What about the karmis? They'll never be satisfied because they're trying to enjoy something that's not enjoyable. They're trying to be something that they can never be. The enjoyer, the proprietor. It's like a thief. A thief can never be happy because he's trying to do something illegal. He'll be punished. So the materialists are always being punished by Maya. Kick here and a slap there. And still they never learn. They just keep trying. Please continue.
A sadhu knows that without devotional service to the Lord, human life is spoiled. A devotee travels all over the country, from door to door, preaching, "Be Krishna conscious, be a devotee of Lord Krishna. Don't spoil your life in simply fulfilling your animal propensities. Human life is meant for self-realization, for Krishna consciousness." These are the preachings of a sadhu. He is not satisfied with his own liberation.
This is a theme, a very important theme in our presenting Krishna consciousness is that there's a similarity between the animals and the humans. Armena hina pashubi samana. They have the same tendencies. Animals eat, humans eat. Animals mate, humans mate. Animals defend, humans defend. Animals sleep. There's no difference. They have the same desires. But there's one difference between the two, and that is Dharma. Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana Dharma means the eternal occupation of the soul. In the human form of life, it's realizable. They can actually understand it. If they get association with the sadhu, saintly person, then they can be reawakened to their original position as servant of Krishna. Whereas the animals, they don't have sufficient intelligence. Of course, the animals should be engaged in serving the Lord as far as possible, because they get benefit that way, even Agyata Sukriti. It's not that they don't get benefit. And the humans, as the older brothers of all the other 8 million species, are supposed to engage as many of the living entities as possible in the service of the Lord. It's like we take flowers so the plants get benefit, that the flowers are offered to the Lord. The foodstuffs, the grains, milk products coming from the cow. So many nice things can be offered to Krishna. And the horses, they can be used in Krishna's service. One has to understand the overall picture, how God's plan is for everyone. Because in the spiritual world, all the varieties, we won't say species exactly, but because it's not quite in the same category, but there are varieties of living beings there, of devotees, in different shapes. Some of them are in the shapes of animals, some of them are in the shapes of plants, but they're all serving, they're all fully absorbed in Krishna. And the material world reflection can also be engaged in the same way. Everything in the spiritual world, even the inanimate or the so-called inanimate objects are fully absorbed in Krishna. The rivers are absorbed in Krishna. The earth is feeling so ecstatic that the Lord's footprints are the Lord in his lotus feet are walking on the earth. So she becomes ecstatic with trees. Everyone's ecstatic. Even the gopis were criticizing bamboo, that this inanimate object, the bamboo flute, is enjoying things that he's not supposed to be enjoying. They belong to us. He's getting to be touched by Krishna's lotus lips. And they were fully aware that the bamboo flute was consciously serving. On the spiritual platform, everything is conscious, everyone is conscious. And here we can use everything. Anasaktasya vishayam, itaramupajunjita, nibandha Krishna sambandhe, bandha Krishna sambandhe, yukta vairagya mochite. That is the principle of Vaishnavism, how to utilize everything in Krishna's service. Even money, even sex. That's a question that many people would be wondering about. What about that? Yes, that can be used also. Dharma virudho bhuteshu kamosmi bharatarshana. Sex life which is not contrary to religious principles. Krishna says, I am. That can also be engaged in Krishna's service.
A sadhu always thinks about others. He is the most compassionate personality towards all the fallen souls. One of his qualifications, therefore, is karunika, great mercy to the fallen souls. While engaged in preaching work, he has to meet with so many opposing elements, and therefore the sadhu, or devotee of the Lord, has to be very tolerant. Someone may ill-treat him because the conditioned souls are not prepared to receive the transcendental knowledge of devotional service.
This is Lord Chaitanya's great quality. He has unlimited qualities because he is Krishna playing the part of a devotee, playing the part of a sadhu. Bhakta avatar. He's giving the perfect example of how a sadhu behaves. And for the people in general, for the general mass of people, he engaged them in chanting Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. He went on his tour to South India for 6 years. And everyone he met, he encouraged them to chant Hare Krishna, chant the Holy Name, chant the Maha Mantra. And he was in so much ecstasy that he would embrace them when they chanted. And then they would go back to their villages. They would embrace others, and then they would all become devotees. And they would embrace them. This way the whole place became filled with devotees. That's for the general people, chanting Hare Krishna, because they may not be so able to understand the philosophy. I remember Prabhupada wrote me a letter once, and he was saying about the people in Amsterdam. Nothing against Amsterdam, but there was one particular park called London Park. And at that time, it was full of hippies, and they were all intoxicated. Prabhupada said they can't understand philosophy in that state, so let them chant, give them prasadam, and then when they become purified, then we have so many books. So if someone's intoxicated and unconscious more or less, it's difficult to discuss philosophy. But chanting and prasadam, that can be universally applied in every circumstance. Even if people are poor, and even if people are depraved, even if people are depressed, prasadam and chanting is the perfect. Enechyo shadi maya nashni baralagi harinama mahamantra lao tumi magi. This is the medicine that cures all disease. We were discussing that yesterday. And this chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra solves all the problems. That's the most merciful thing then that a sadhu does, is he gives out the holy name. And then Lord Chaitanya, when he met with philosophers, learned circles, then he would speak philosophy. He would give them Vedanta. That's also necessary, because there are a group of people, they think it's sentimental just chanting and dancing, playing instruments. Use of this. They think we need academics, we need science, we need intelligence. What about that? We don't just need sentimental faith. Therefore scholars like to deprecate anything that has anything to do with G blank D, God. They relegate that to faith religions. In other words, they want to make sure that there's not even the slightest credit given for anything intellectual or scientific there. I had a discussion with a scientist once, and before we began, he said, there's just one thing I'd like to make sure that in our discussion, we don't bring in God in the discussion. He didn't even want it to be brought in the discussion. Wanted to make that ground rule, that should be completely left out of any kind of scientific discussion. But if you take Vedanta Sutra, Bhasyam Brahma Sutram, and the Bhagavatam is the natural commentary by the same author on Vedanta Sutra. And Bhagavatam has all the sciences. Cosmology is there, biology is there, philosophy is there, religion is there, military science is there, Jyotish is there, everything is there. And the Vedas, they all come from the Vedas. So, it's not that we're lacking sufficient knowledge or science to defend ourselves, that we're not just sentimentalists, faith. We have blind faith. We're not just blind. We have faith based on open eyes, not closed eyes or blind eyes. Jnana Chakshush. Knowledge based, or the vision through knowledge, or Shastra through transcendental. What better knowledge can there be, or faith, than knowledge coming down from the original source of all knowledge, and the source of everything. Yasmin Vigati Sarvam Etam Vigyatam Bhavati. If one knows Krishna, he knows everything. So we just have to give Krishna consciousness, and then all sciences will be understood, mathematics will reach its perfection. It's like Einstein said, we owe a lot to the Indians because they taught us how to count, without which no worthwhile accomplishment can be achieved. He gave credit to India for giving the counting system. All sciences come from India, or from, shall we say, the spiritual world. And India is representative because Punyabhumi is such a special place. The Lord appeared there in his original form of Krishna, Lord Ramachandra, Lord Chaitanya, so many different avatars.
The conditioned souls do not like to receive transcendental knowledge of devotional service. That is their disease. The sadhu has the thankless task of impressing upon them the importance of devotional service. Sometimes devotees are personally attacked with violence. Lord Jesus Christ was crucified. Haridas Thakur was caned in 22 marketplaces. And Lord Chaitanya's principal assistant, Nityananda, was violently attacked by Jagai and Madai.
And Srila Prabhupada was given a letter when he was at the large Pandal program in Calcutta, if I'm not mistaken. There was a group of terrorists called Naxalites, and they were killing leaders, government leaders, and wealthy people, whoever they wanted, whoever didn't go along with their views. So they were killing them, terrorizing them in the city. And so when Prabhupada came and got 40,000 people to come for a program about God, they were not in favor at all. So they sent a letter up to Prabhupada. They were in the audience. They said, fly or die. Fly or die. So most people would fly. Say, well, I don't need this. I'll preach somewhere else, you know. But Prabhupada said, invite him to come, I want to speak with him. So he spoke with him, and he was so full of sadhu qualities, they became impressed. No more trouble. So this is the sadhu, taking all risk. Who leaves their home country that they've never left before at the age of 70? With no money. I mean, no money in your pocket at all. To a foreign country, you don't know anyone. No one knows you. You've never met anyone there. You're 70 years old, you have no money, and you're going there to preach to people that are engaged in all the activities that you are going to be preaching that they should stop. So who does that? That's in the mood of the great Acharya preachers. That's tolerance. He tolerated staying in the Bowery. He had to, in order to get to his place, he had to go over the derelicts, ask them to move aside. This is tolerance. He was not respected. In Vrindavan he was respected as a great sadhu, great saintly person. He was honored, worshipped, but not in the Bowery, he wasn't. Because they couldn't understand. But that's tolerance. That's mercy.
But still, they, meaning Lord Jesus, Haridas Thakur and Lord Nityananda, were tolerant because their mission was to deliver the fallen souls. One of the qualifications of a sadhu is that he is very tolerant and is merciful to all fallen souls. He is merciful because he is the well-wisher of all living entities.
He is the well-wisher because Krishna is the well-wisher. Suridam Sarvadeyinam, Suridam Sarvabhutana. They have the same qualification. As Krishna is the friend and well-wisher of all living entities, so Krishna's devotee has the same mood. He's a representative of Krishna. He's an assistant of Krishna. So, he doesn't claim that he's the well-wisher or that he's the friend, but he says, Krishna is your friend. Krishna is the well-wisher. Therefore, he becomes the best friend. There is really only Krishna as the dearmost friend of all living entities. But the devotee says, yes, Krishna is your friend. Then he becomes a friend. So, sometimes the question comes up, can one living entity love another or have kindness or friendship towards another? Yes, as long as Krishna is in the center. If Krishna is not in the center of that relationship, then there's no such thing as friendship or love without Krishna. It's like, if you give food to the hand and you give food to the eyes, it's not love. You have to give food to the stomach, then you're loving the eyes and the hands. Automatically. If you try to love directly the eyes, push some nice foodstuffs. Carrots are good for the eyes. Push some carrots in the eyes. Go blind. But if you give carrots to the stomach, then the eyes are benefited, everything's benefited. All at once. So there's no need to try to love individually, separately, every living entity or even the environment, try to love the environment separately. It's fruitless, it doesn't work. It's again zero, you've left out the one. But if you serve Krishna, then the environment is benefited, all the living entities are benefited automatically.
The sadhu is not only a well-wisher of human society, but a well-wisher of animal society as well. It is said here, Sarva Dehinam, which indicates all living entities who have accepted material bodies. Not only does the human being have a material body, but other living entities, such as cats and dogs, also have material bodies. The devotee of the Lord is merciful to everyone, cats, dogs, trees, etc. He treats all living entities in such a way that they can ultimately get salvation from this material entanglement. Shivananda Sena, one of the disciples of Lord Chaitanya, gave liberation to a dog by treating the dog transcendentally. There are many instances where a dog got salvation by association with a sadhu, because a sadhu engages in the highest philanthropic activities for the benediction of all living entities. Yet, although a sadhu is not inimical towards anyone, the world is so ungrateful that even a sadhu has many enemies.
So, this story about Shivananda Singha's dog is a favorite because we're all like dogs. I mean, we like dogs. was coming from societies where dogs are considered the best friend. So we like to hear about that story. For those who are not familiar with it, I'll just briefly describe it. There was a dog that joined Shivananda Sena's party. He was in charge of taking the group from Bengal to Jagannath Puri every year. And this dog joined the party. So Shivananda Sena, being merciful, yes, he was giving the dog prasadam, making sure he was one of the group. And then he had to go pay some tolls, Shivananda Sena, so he had to go for some time, and he made sure, with his assistance, make sure the dog gets fed. And when he had to go across the rivers, sometimes the boatman said, "No dogs allowed." He'd pay them extra to get the dog. He wanted to bring the dog to Jagannath Puri. He felt it was his duty. But when he came back from the tolls, he said, "Where's the dog? Did you feed the dog?" And they didn't feed the dog. So he was a little upset. Anyway, they went on. Lo and behold, when they came to Jagannath Puri, and they saw Lord Chaitanya, who was there? The dog was there, right in the company of Lord Chaitanya and his associates. So Shivananda Sena was ecstatic. The dog went, and now he's in the presence of Lord Chaitanya. And then Lord Chaitanya was throwing him some coconut pulp prasadam from his hand. The dog was catching it and eating it. And then, the most amazing thing, Lord Chaitanya asked the dog to lead the kirtan. And the dog led the kirtan. And the next day he went back to Godhead. That dog. So that's a wonderful story. Not all dogs get so much mercy, but if we give them prasadam, then they're guaranteed at least human form in the next life. Maybe more, but at least that much. Are there any questions or comments so far? We've covered a lot of ground.
Why in the name of Swami Krishna? Why in the name of loving Krishna devotees sometimes become krura?
Akrura.
No, krura. They become cruel.
Devotee can't be cruel. How can a devotee be cruel?
We see the devotees are cruel to other devotees, to other people, in the name of loving Krishna.
No. Someone may be a neophyte. A neophyte devotee may inadvertently, accidentally, or without full knowledge, unintentionally cause harm. But Krishna overlooks that because he's Apichetittaracharo bhajatanam ananyabhag sadhareva samantavya samyak vyavasito. He's engaged in devotional service. There may be some discrepancies, some bad habits from the past. It's like there was a letter someone wrote to Prabhupada. They wrote directly to Prabhupada somehow or other. And they complained about the distributors, book distributors. So Prabhupada humbly requested, please forgive them. They've given up everything to serve the Lord and to do the best service for mankind. So if they have some qualities that are not refined yet, still rough, please overlook it, please be kind to them. That was Prabhupada's response. So because it is devotee's heart. Or another way to look at it is, I guess this is the same idea. If someone is very dirty and he's taking a bath, you can look at him and say, look at all that dirt. Yes, he has some dirt, but he's taking a bath. He's getting clean. So better to see the bright side. He's getting clean. We can point out the flaws, but better not to point out the flaws, better to see what wonderful service. As far as Akrura, for the gopis, they said the same thing you said, so I'm taking it in that context. They called Akrura, they said, this is a great mistake. He has the name Akrura, which means not cruel, but actually he's Krura. He's the most cruel. So it may have appeared that way to the most advanced devotees, or even those who are not devotees. They may think that devotees are cruel. Just like they may say, they may even criticize Lord Chaitanya. He left his family, he took sannyas. Father was already passed away. Brother had left home, taken sannyas. He had a newly married wife, young girl, 16 years old, took sannyas. Krura. But Rupa Goswami said, no. Mo Mahabharanyaya. Krishna Prema Pradayate. Krishna Krishna Chaitanya. The most merciful, not Krura. And don't you think that the mother got benefited? Don't you think that the wife got benefited? Everyone gets benefited by Krishna consciousness. So it may appear cruel to the family. It may appear cruel or somehow or other. Even if you take the potatoes and you offer them to Krishna, so someone may say there's some violence. But that violence is authorized if it's done under Krishna's order. Just like Arjuna. Some people say Arjuna was non-violent. He was a good man. Krishna engaged him in killing wholesale. That's cruelty on the highest level. So Krishna's cruel. How can Krishna be cruel? Krishna is only the well-wisher of all living entities, and he knows perfectly well. And the devotee also knows perfectly well because he's following Mahajano Yena Kata Sapanta. He's following the instructions of the Lord and the Lord's intimate associates. So that's my thoughts on that point. Thank you for that question.
Yes, it is said that it is violence when we don't give Krishna consciousness to people. One commentary, I don't know exactly what Prabhupada says, but I am asking why do we less and less go out and do Sankirtan Harinam? Because before we read, it was every day, now it is once a week maybe. Also, there are Sankirtan devotees, but less and less. So I'm interested. Why is that? What's your opinion? Thank you.
Thank you for joining the movement to help make sure that that particular area is revived. Krishna brought you to help revive that. Well, there's plenty of... It's not that everything's already been done, so what's the use of my joining the Krishna consciousness movement? Everything's already been done. They opened up America, they opened up Croatia, they opened up Serbia. Nothing left to do. No, there's so much to do. Become a prominent leader in any field you like. even become a prominent leader in your home. Mothers can raise their children to become devotees, become gurus at home. Everyone can become a guru. Jade Daki Tadeka, Krishna Upadesh, Amara Gyai Guru Hana Tade Desh. It's not that there's only a certain number of gurus required. Unlimited number of gurus are required because there's so many living entities in the universe that are without Krishna consciousness. Okay? Any questions?
Now one question came to my mind, thinking about all these qualities which are mentioned on the table. Can we take some to be of, how we said, more important, some less important, or should we start with trying to develop them separately, or it's going all together by practicing devotional service?
Yes. That's the beauty of devotional service. Yes, bhakti bhagavati kinchana sarvargunaistattur samasate sara. By practicing devotional service, one develops all the good qualities of the demigods. So all these qualities will come. They manifest. Favorite person to see that in is Srila Prabhupada. We have so much information. How he has all the qualities of the sadhu. His name, Ajatashatru, is a name that was given to Yudhishthira Maharaj. His enemy was never born. So what does that mean? What about Duryodhana? Who were the other brothers? What are some of the other brothers' names? There are so many. So they appeared to be enemies. But Yudhishthira Maharaj never thought of them as enemies. He never thought of anyone as an enemy. Prahlad Maharaj, when Shanda and Amarka at the Asura Kula were trying to teach him about friends and enemies, he didn't like it. He didn't accept that there's any enemies. And even humble servant, when I was inducted into the Israeli army, and they were trying to teach me how to shoot the M16 rifle, I said, but I don't see them as my enemy. So you don't want to give me the rifle because I don't know who the enemy is. They thought that was a good point. So I didn't get bullets. I got a rifle, but no bullets. So all of them naturally come. We may think, well, why are they coming so slowly in my case? Well, it depends on the level of our intensity, our lolyam. As we become more eager and enthusiastic, then the advancement. As they surrender to me, I reward them accordingly. So if you like good qualities, you want to be a good person, this is the best way. You see some of these qualities are also listed as qualities for Brahmanas. That means a Vaishnava or a sadhu, he has all the good qualities of a Brahmana. He's peaceful, he's kind to everyone, he's got all these tolerant. These are Brahminical qualities. But Arjuna, although he was a Kshatriya externally, because he was also a sadhu, he didn't want to harm anyone. He only, his refusing to fight and cause harm to the others was wonderful because it shows that he was a perfect sadhu. But then when he fought, under Krishna's orders, he remained a perfect sadhu, or shall we say, he became a greater sadhu. So carrying out Krishna's instructions, that's the ultimate in being friendly to everyone. Arjuna was being friendly to Duryodhana, to Drona, to all those on the other side. Okay. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srimad Prabhupada ki jai.
His Holiness Danavir Maharaj.